The US has hailed a future post-Brexit trade deal with Britain ahead of a clash between the UK's chief negotiator David Frost and EU counterpart Michel Barnier in Brussels this evening as tensions threaten to boil over between the two sides. The US ambassador to the UK Woody Johnson retweeted a 15-second video from the Department for International Trade, which features comments from a small business that exports to the US, praising the benefits a trade deal between the UK and US could provide. Mr. Johnson wrote, "The US-UK trade deal will greatly benefit SMEs and create jobs on both sides of the Atlantic. The UK and EU will once again attempt to break the impasse in trade talks this week with several outstanding issues remaining in order to reach a trade deal by the end of the year." Ahead of the seventh official round of talks, one EU official has taken a huge swipe at the way the UK negotiating team has approached discussions and suggested Mr. Frost would eventually cave in to the demands of the bloc. The Brussels insider has insisted Britain would soften its stance with the EU after trade deals with the US and Japan were yet to be finalised. The official said, "The UK desperately needs this deal. If the clock is ticking, reality will start to sink in London. The UK might not always have behaved rationally in its negotiations with Brussels, but surely the pandemic and the lack of trade alternatives must lead to some reason in London." Earlier today, the EU warned a trade agreement must be achieved in October at the latest if it is to be ratified in time. A spokesman for Mr. Barnier said, "The important thing to note, and I would point you first of all back to what Michel Barnier himself said in London at the end of the last round of negotiations, that, first of all, we want a deal, we want to have an ambitious and fair partnership with the UK, and that we must come to an agreement in October at the latest." He added, "This week and over the coming weeks we will remain constructive. We will remain engaged and respectful with the UK negotiating team in order to reach a deal."